Welcome to Visibility Unlimited, the podcast, and Visibility Unlimited Spotlight, the video version of the podcast. I'm Leslie Short, your host and owner of the Cavu Group. I am privileged to have a global guest today that will share his work, why it's important, why it's needed, and how it is similar to the African American community here in the United States, and why it's important in his country. So please welcome my guest, Aweke Kobi Zena. Did I pronounce it correctly?
Yeah, thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. I want to read your title. I want to give everyone your title because it's a mouthful. So, Aweke is head of the National Anti-Racism Coordinator's Office and the Justice Ministry in Israel. That is a big title. Please share who you are and how you started this work.
So, again, thank you for having me. So, my name is Aweke Kobi Zena, and I was born in Ethiopia. I moved to Israel 34 years ago when I was 10. And this title that you mentioned is something big that I'm working on it. Mm-hmm. We in Israel have diverse community, not just Ethiopian community, Ethiopian Jews community, also different society. And it starts 6 years ago when large demonstrations of Ethiopian descent regarding police violence, police brutality, and that kind of issue. And the Israeli government decided to establish international team to check what's going on in this field, before taking actions, we should know what is the problem.
Right.
And the interministerial team report was very clear that there is racism in Israel, and we must we'll take actions to deal with that. Mm-hmm. And that's how we established. And I'm the first that in this position. Frankly, I established this unit. So we are challenging with different issues, but the vision is to eradicate racism, all kinds of racism in Israel. Okay. So this is our unit. It's working.
Wonderful, thank you. In my book, Expand Beyond Your Current Culture, I have a global chapter about diversity, equity, and inclusion. And I had the opportunity to receive information from the Israel Equal Employment Opportunities Commission and the Diversity Institute. The work that you're doing is not that. It is not, of course, it's under the big umbrella of diversity, equity, and inclusion, but you're really focused, am I correct, on Ethiopian Jews and what they are dealing with the racism within Israel. And it was so similar to the United States. And if you can share more of the police being stopped on the street, can you just share what that racism looks like? Because I think here in America, people are like, what do you mean there's racism in Israel?
Yeah, like many countries, Israel facing with racism issue. Racism on base of skin color is something that visible, and policing profiling is an issue. I think the incident that starts the demonstration was when a young Ethiopian soldier beaten 6 years ago, Demas Fikade, beaten by police, and Fortunately, this incident was documented in camera, documented, and after after he arrested, the camera documented shows that he is the person who beat it. So racial profiling in public area regarding policing issues is something that bothers a lot of Ethiopian descents. And we start this movement to equality and demanding stop racism, especially regarding police issue. And this was the trigger that large-scale demonstrations of Ethiopian Jews leads that government resolution to establish interministerial team, and after that to establish our unit. But having said that, I know that there is more society in Israel facing with racism and discriminations.
Mm-hmm.
But the more difficult issue is really to deal with color issue in Israel, skin color issue in Israel.
Right.
And we are doing it day after day to change the reality.
Yeah, it's a journey. So it's very similar. It's not similar. It's exactly what happened here that woke up America to say, not that there is an issue, because there was always an issue before the murder of George Floyd, but the protest in the streets, hiring diversity, equity, and inclusion officers, everyone wanting to be part of a social justice movement, racial justice movement. I think the issue is, in Israel, you all created a department to have this conversation every day. Where here, we have the conversation, it's 3 years later. Maybe it's not so important anymore. So how do the Ethiopian Jews, how do they know how to find you when something happens? How are you, I don't want to use the word marketing, but how do people know you are there for them?
We're working very hard to access our service to the public. We are basically trying to work with the community to really to emphasize our service, and that the Ethiopian Jews especially can call us and apply complaints whatever it's racial accidents happens. Mm-hmm. And then you mentioned that I think Israel is unique in these fields because to establish a governmental unit, not NGO's problem, not private problem. Right. It's really a national problem to take this step and working very hard to bring a change, to make a change.
Right.
So we start good. I think we start good, and as long as we working in these fields, we are. I see the winds of change in Israel. Mm-hmm. But having said that, we have a lot of work to do. Yes. We don't have a magic solution to this problem.
Oh, I'm so happy you said that.
Yeah. No, you mentioned that, and we have a lot of in common. And this conversation, and I came here to learn about your experience, and you are great what you're doing in these fields. But I think the solution is keeping doing. Yes. And that's what I'm doing in my position.
And I believe there's a shift. If we think there's only one way we can make a change, or I like to say a shift, because change means it's final, and shift means we're ever looking at what's going on. If you can share, what are some of the complaints you do receive, and then what's the process, as much as you can share, when someone brings a complaint? I think here people are so disheartened, disenchanted by making complaints, whether it's in an office or to the police, that they feel nothing will happen. unless maybe sometimes it is recorded. What happens? What type of complaints and what happens?
When we received complaints, first it's very important to contact with the complainer, with the person who complained,
Right.
to take details and to try to understand what it's about.
Mhm.
And after that, we deliver the complaints to our colleagues that whom concerned about,
Right.
and we ensure that these complaints will be taken care seriously,
Mhm.
and we always keep the contact with the complaint. So eventually, there is no just send a complaint and that's it. It's important to us to keep this contact and to make sure that these complaints will be treated seriously. So, for example, regarding the police, when someone complains to our unit and tell about an incident with police, so we take the complaints, we deliver to whom is concerned, and we're working until the complaint treated well, and we receive an answer to the who complained to us. So the important thing is that to be care about that, to be more aware that we should to make confidence to complain to us,
Right.
and I think the most important thing is um, even though we don't have a good solution, for example, to these complaints, but we know to take this complaint to do a major change, or a training issues, and educate to prevent such as things in the future.
Well, that was going to be my next question, because you can take the complaint, and I don't know if everyone in your department and the commission looks like you, looks like me when they go to make that complaint. So that's always um, part of the issue, who they actually speak to when they come to complain. What type of, and we both know, we've been doing this a long time, workshops are amazing. I do a lot of them, but one workshop, one training, one key speaker doesn't make that shift. What are you putting in process for the police department? And I've worked with the police here. What type of trainings, what type of workshops, how often do you do this? What assistance do they have in their learning?
Um, you know, I always say that there is not enough.
Yeah.
Uh,
I love the honesty.
yeah, there is
That
not
is
enough.
true.
And I think since we have the since we started to work with police department, the basic is to make them to understand the problem. The denial is a huge issue, and we're starting with recognition of the problem, and to teach them that there is diverse society in Israel, and equality is something that the police authority must keep to service all society in Israel, no
Right.
matter what their religion, what their culture, or ethnicity.
Right.
So this is the basic, and after that, well, we take step and build a guideline
Mhm.
how to treat the society, how to treat how to policing, equal policing,
Right.
and another things that there is a mandatory camera body. They should.
Mhm.
So we trying to work in different ways to maximize the equality.
Right.
As I said, there's not enough. We should do more, and then we will do more in this issue.
I love it. I mean, look, we all know that nothing is equal. There are systemic issues within. same as here, same as every society in different ways. But there is equal, and there is the opportunity for inclusion to have the equality of each other as humanity. You know, body cameras are here as well. And let's be honest, if there was not these cameras, there would be a lot of still having discussions. Is this real? It's not a real issue. So I always say the cameras are positive and can be negative. But what I know for a fact is that I always have a saying, just because my good doesn't look like your good doesn't mean it's no good. And that means that as we walk together, there has to be an understanding that my humanity equals your humanity.
Exactly.
And that's what's missing. So I'm going to take a small turn, if you don't mind, because I want to go back to a few years. And I remember me personally being in an uproar when I saw a news article. And I think you know where I'm going. And I'd love for you to kind of shed some light, because I think there was a disconnect of communication here in the States, where what we saw was the perception, reality, don't know, of Israel handing $500 to those of Ethiopian descent and saying, now you can leave. And that article, and I had just come back from Israel, and I was the biggest public, PR person. Israel. And then I was like, ooh, Israel, what's happening? Can you share what that was or what was happening at that time?
No, there's no happen in Israel regarding the Ethiopian Jews. It's really, I don't want to say it's fake news, but it does not happen regarding Ethiopian news. There is no such policy aimed at any Israeli citizens, not of Ethiopian origin or any other group within the Israeli society. I think the case you are referring is actually an issue of migrants from various countries who entered Israel illegally. The phenomenon of illegal immigration and people who seek asylum is global,
Yes.
as you know. And Israel also has to deal with this challenge with growing number of illegal immigration from Eastern Europe, also in African countries. In general, I told you that I moved to Israel from Ethiopia. So we, especially my unit and my staff, we show compassion and try to help with whatever is possible. But at the same time, we need to abide by the law. So this is the issue. No one can offer to Ethiopian Jews to leave the country because it's our country.
And that's why I think that's where the disconnect was. Was it immigrants coming over? Is it Ethiopian Jews? Because it was kind of like Ethiopians. So thank you for at least shedding light on what that situation was. And yes, there's immigration issues across the board, globally. That is a whole nother topic of conversation of how that needs to be dealt with on a humanity issue. But within the Ethiopian Jews within Israel, I'm going to ask a loaded question, which is a yes and no. Are the opportunities there? I'm going to say that maybe you're a rarity. You are in a senior position. You have the opportunity to create something amazing. I'm so happy to see you in this position and to know that their opportunities are there. Is there just equal opportunities for leadership within the country?
In my view, that every person should do whatever is possible for opportunities. In Israel, there is a way to do for equal opportunity. and we have, I cannot ignore it. We have color issue, skin color issue.
Yes.
We are facing with racism and discrimination in Israel, and the fact that I'm a senior in the government is not mean that we solved all problem. And so I think that the way to make sure that all Ethiopian Israeli will have equal opportunity is keeping working to eradicate racism, to prevent discrimination, and to aware the problem with whom is concerned. Uh, so we have opportunity in politicians, senior politicians in Israel, but my I think my view is, as long as we can see high senior workers, especially in the government,
Right.
but not only, it will be better, and it will prove that we can get more opportunities.
Absolutely. I mean, look, representation matters no matter what country you're in. When you see someone that looks like you and walks like you, it at least gives you hope that there is opportunity for growth, for change, for being there, for that shift. When we don't see is when we go, someone thinks we only belong here. And so I look forward to the continuing to paying attention to seeing not only yourself, but others continue to grow within the country. Israel is somewhere that is very special to me personally. So I love to see that this is a real conversation that is happening, an open conversation that is happening. Why do you feel that it was important for you to come to the United States and have this conversation?
I think, first of all, to learn from your experience, and it's very important to me. And also, I think there is a gap about what the American citizens know about Israel.
Yes.
So I want to reduce this gap of information. But really, the most thing is to learn about your experience, and to share the common values. You mentioned before that we deal with the same problem. And as long as we can learn from each other and try to fulfill our experience, to change the reality and to promote equality, is something that I want to do. And also, I'm going to and after tomorrow I'm going to fly to Atlanta, and so I'm so excited to be there and to learn about the civil rights movement there and how it starts. So that's why I'm here, especially to learn.
I love it. I think we can learn from each other. It's what I wrote in my book, to say the way that they were handling companies and assigning DEI people and watching over is the same way we can have these shared commonalities of what it is to be Black and brown in a country. But then how are we coming up with solutions? Because I'm at the mindset in 2023, we got to have solutions. We know the problems, we know the issues. What are the solutions? And we're not going to solve everything, or we would be geniuses and on a beach somewhere, hopefully warm and happy. But to really dig deeper than what's on the surface and continue to bridge, create these bridges among ourselves, I think is very important. There's going to be different ways to approach it. How you approach street discrimination lends over to corporations and to business, to walking out of your home, to equity of social, environment, health. Tell me if I'm missing anything. LGBTQ plus, those with disabilities, sight seen and unseen. And so these conversations need to be had and shared, and our solutions need to be shared.
Exactly. You're right. You're right.
You know, so I hope we get to continue this conversation. It was an amazing honor to have you be a guest on my podcast. And full disclosure for those that are watching and listening, I will get to meet Aweke in another week in Israel.
I'm looking forward to that.
Likewise, I saw the connection in these conversations are real. We have to continue to build and work together for understanding, regardless of what country we're in. Is there any last thought or any last solution you would like to share with my listeners and those that are watching?
Yeah. The basic things that we must know that we are human being. We are trying not to see. I personally don't think that there is different races. We are one race, human being race, and we have different color, different culture, different religion belief, and as long as we recognize this principle, we can do more to change the reality. And I believe that such as cooperation, and as long as we can share the common values, we can do the change. And I hope that fears we will solve this problem, and we all be equal.
Absolutely. Thank you. I mean, what comes down to is we are all different. And that's the joy of it. And I want to be different. I want to be uniquely different. I am happy with that. All Black people aren't monolithic. All Ethiopians aren't monolithic. All Jewish people aren't monolithic. Asian. But there is humanity, and there is an empathy of understanding to expand beyond your current culture, that it's okay to learn and listen from someone else. It doesn't take away from who you are, proudly standing in your culture, but it only helps all of us to proudly stand, hopefully one day, honestly, together. That may be my have a dream speech. I don't know.
My dreams too. So
the reality is we have a lot of work to do.
absolutely.
We're doing a lot of the work. I applaud you for the work. I want to let you know I'm a partner in the work there and here, whatever you need. And thank you again for joining.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, all of my listeners and those that are watching Visibility Unlimited and Visibility Unlimited Spotlight. I look forward to our next conversation. Thank you again, Aweke Kobi Zena. You say it. It's so much nicer when you say it.
Aweke Kobi Zena. Thank you so much for
Thank you.